need that. All right, so what we're going to cover here tonight is a little bit about our school district, because that's important for you to know. We're going to tell you all about our TK program, which is very consistent from school to school to school, which is exciting, and that's a really positive thing that it's consistent. And we're going to talk to you also about our dual immersion program at Linwood Elementary School, which is a nice option for everyone who lives within our city. And then we'll take your questions if you have questions, and then you can go and enroll from there if you didn't already enroll tonight, which a lot of you did, which is pretty exciting too. You got that done. All right, so in our school district, we are a unified school district. So your child will not just be able to go to TK within our school district and then kindergarten and elementary school. They will be able to go to middle school and high school within our school district as well. And I know it feels like, for some of you, it feels like maybe it's way down the line, but we have some really amazing middle schools and high schools, and it flies by. I tell people all the time, once your child is in school, I feel like it just starts going so fast. And it's a great thing, though, because it's fun. And there are just so many ways that you and your family can be involved. Our high schools have amazing programs. They have a STEAM program, an arts program. Our middle schools have amazing electives for students and sports and all kinds of stuff. So it's a really great district to be part of. So congratulations for being part of this amazing school district and this amazing community. And it's amazing really because of the people who make up our community and caring families, which is why you're here tonight or watching online. We focus on being a culture of caring. We care about one another. We are a culture of competence. We want to support students in whatever way they may need support. And we want to be a culture of excellence too. So we are involved with something called PBE. You'll hear it a lot, proficiency-based education. And it's an educational philosophy about being really intentional about what we're teaching and ensuring that our students are actually mastering the content that we're teaching. So we want all of our students to be successful so that they can go on and contribute to our amazing community. One of our goals is that by 2039, all of our students, every graduating class, we want them graduating with the 6 C's. And they're kind of the soft skills. I do want to. I really don't like being over here. And they're kind of the soft skills that we think are really important for students to master before they go on to the workforce or before they go on to college. And start contributing as adults. And really it helps them through their educational journey as well. So the 6 C's that we focus on, and we have for, probably close to 15 years now, are communication, critical thinking, collaboration, being a conscientious learner, culturally competent, and building character and having strong character. So we actually address each of these things in our programs throughout the years, just trying to support you and partner with you in raising children that have that consistency in guiding them and shaping them into being the best people that they can be. And we have an equity imperative as well. Equity is something that is very important to us in Novato Unified School District. We value the fact that we're a very diverse community and we're a very inclusive school district. So we see diversity as a strength, as an asset, as a way that makes us a better and stronger community, and as a way that better prepares our students for life beyond our educational walls and institutions, like out in the world. And so we love being part of this community, and we do have an equity imperative, and it's so important to us to get every student exactly what they need to be successful, regardless of their background, that we have an equity imperative committee that meets regularly to make sure that our equitable policies are updated and revisited and reworded and just fluid in that way. So I'm really proud of this district because of the way that we find that so important, and it's really part of our core values. So the reason that universal TK is becoming an expanded program based on birthdays and ages, and why we're putting so much value in it in the public school system and throughout our nation and really internationally as well. I think there's a few reasons for that, and we have researched this a little bit. One of those reasons is that 90% of brain growth happens in those early childhood years. So we want to be able to make sure that students have access to a really high-quality educational program in that time to start shaping their little brains and making sure that they're making those connections and that those neurons are connecting throughout the brain. And we want to make sure that we're able to intervene early. So different students have different needs, and sometimes those needs will continue with them, and sometimes they will outgrow those needs. But whatever the case and whatever type of need it is, having students enrolled in universal TK in public schools gives them automatic access to a bunch of different resources that would be more difficult to access and come by just on your own. So we really do view ourselves as a partner with you, and we will ensure that your child has access to the resources that they need to learn. And research shows that play-based programs are so important for students' academic success and learning. Our little ones need to be having fun. They need to be physically engaged. They need to be making those positive connections in order to realize a love for learning, and then also positive relationships that will help them be successful and learn throughout their years in school and beyond. So preschool and TK are different. We get this question sometimes. They're kind of different, but they're similar in a lot of ways too. TK really is transitional kindergarten. It really is more academic, and there's a higher level of expectation that we'll talk about throughout this presentation in TK than there was in preschool. And you're really, by the end of the year, our students are ready for kindergarten, where it gets more academic. And we want them to have those foundational skills that will help them be able to learn to read the next year. And we want to make sure that they have that number sense so that they can start working with math problems in different ways in kindergarten and first grade. We really focus on social skills and learning how to be a learner, and we make it play-based because we want to be a program that is aligned with research and what research shows is best for our students and how they learn. And research does show that play-based learning for this age is the best way to approach the learning. And so in kindergarten, then we're going to really be working toward mastery of all those different standards. And we're going to get your kiddos ready to read and ready for first grade and all of that good stuff. Okay, so options in NUST. I don't want to forget any school, so I wrote them all down, because if I forgot one, I would feel so bad. All of our schools are incredible. Our principals, our teachers, our office managers, our parent communities. Obviously, our students are so sweet and fun and amazing, but really, you are in good hands in Novato Unified School District. So it does not matter where you live. Your neighborhood school is really great. So we have Hamilton. We have Loma Verde. Are any of these sounding familiar yet? We have Lou Sutton School. We have Linwood School. We have Olive Elementary. We have Pleasant Valley. We have Rancho Elementary and San Ramon Elementary as well. How many of you went to one of those schools when you were in school? Yes, that's amazing. That's the great thing about this community is that people love it, and we stay, and our kids go here too. And remember that Hamilton is a TK through 8th grade school, which also has specific benefits for students all the way through 8th grade. All right, so I'm going to introduce Leslie Robertson and Tanya Chima, who are here to talk about more specifics with transitional kindergarten in our school district. And remember, out of all those schools that I listed, it doesn't matter which one you go to. We're a unified district, and we collaborate often, and we try to do the same types of things. And that's a really important thing, because then it makes sure that we're organized and targeted about how your students are learning, and that if you move or end up at a different school at some point, your child can pick up right where they left off. So that's a good thing. All right, so they're going to talk more about our programs.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tanya Chima. Just be completely honest, how many of you have not heard a single word after she said 2039? Yeah, you're like, what? I am the proud principal of Loma Verde Elementary School. It's my honor to be here with you guys. I have been at Loma Verde for many years. I have two children that are students at Loma Verde. And I get to work with the best educators and the best families and best students. We also have Miss Libby in the back. She's our wonderful TK para educator. And as we were walking in, I was telling my children, I said, that's Miss Libby, because they're older and don't know Miss Libby too well. And she's an amazing artist. Like, she's just amazing, and my son, unprompted, turned to me and said, aren't all the teachers amazing? And that's really, that really is Novato unified. The teachers are amazing. The camaraderie is amazing. And there's so many staff members that have children that have gone to Novato schools or graduated or have current Novato students. And that just speaks to, if you put your heart and soul into the school and you believe in the mission and the vision, then you want your children to benefit from that. So I think that speaks highly for our Novato schools. So just a little bit about TK, Transitional Kindergarten, versus other programs that are available. This is an opportunity for your children to be part of a larger school educational community. We do our best in all of the elementary schools to make sure that they're having a very sheltered experience, because they're their youngest ones, and that's a big, wide world out there. But this is also how they get to kind of dip their feet into the bigger community through some big buddy interactions, assemblies, motion and movement, but still be kind of in their classrooms and doing play-based learning. So it's a really great introduction for your students and for you into a larger school community. And so that's why we really believe in the mission for transitional kindergarten. And for the specifics, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Robertson.
Hi, I'm Leslie Robertson, and like Tanya said, I have two kiddos that went through NUSD. My youngest just graduated last year and left for school, but I'm lucky enough to stay in the community as a teacher, and this is my 23rd year, and I was thinking about it. I think 3/4 of it have been spent at this grade level, either in the preschool setting or the TK setting. So it is my passion, and it's the most fun. It really is. So I just want to talk a little bit about, we can go to the next slide. And I want to give you the heads up that these pictures are from my classroom and from Loma Verde. However, we work very hard together as a TK team across the district to plan together, to collaborate, and to create a consistency across the district. And it took a number of years to do that, but we really have done that because there really aren't, up to this year, it's really been one TK on each campus, and now a few of us have two, but we were sort of alone on each campus, and so we bonded together as a district grade level, and we now have more of us, and it's created a lot of consistency across the district. And this summer, we actually rewrote wrote a pilot TK report card. We still call it a report card, but we're very proud of it because it really has brought to the forefront a lot of the priorities of TK, meaning the social, emotional, the fine motor, the independent skills, and things like that. So it really bonded us as a TK grade level. So even though you're seeing Loma, this is really what you'll see at most of the sites. So TK is your child's first school experience, and we want it to be joyful, safe, a loving environment. We want your child to feel successful. We want your child to want to come back. We make sure it's an inclusive environment. We really work hard within our classrooms to create that classroom community. We do really focus on a lot of pre-academic skills. We want them ready for kindergarten. We work very closely with our kindergarten teachers, and we vertically align our curriculum so that we know what they need to be ready for kindergarten, and that's what we're doing in our TK classroom so that there's a very smooth transition. And then finally, we want it to be socially and emotionally, developmentally appropriate. So the way we get ready for kindergarten, we work on that social emotional development. Independent skills are huge. We want to send them on to kindergarten. Being able to manage their own belongings, feeling independent, feeling self-confident, and ready to be successful in kindergarten. We focus a lot on fine and gross motor. Fine motor meaning basically from the arm, hand down. So we're working on that tripod grip at all times. We're working on muscle strength within the hands and the fingers, coordination, and then gross motor, meaning whole body coordination. We're working on self-regulation. We're working on all of those things that help our mind and our body be ready to be in the classroom and to know what the expectations are so that we can be successful. Pre-academic, oh, sorry, Mike, go back one. I'm talking more than my slide says. Pre-academic, we have an ELA, an English Language Arts curriculum, math curriculum, which I'll talk about a little bit more. But we are doing all of those pre-academic skills that are really getting them ready for kindergarten. However, that being said, we do a lot of play-based learning. We do a lot of process versus product art, and Miss Shima was actually asking me, like, what does that mean? Process art is where the emphasis is on the messiness of it. It's on the process of it. So maybe we're doing art because it's messy and fun, or it's a fine motor coordination activity. And then maybe we're doing a product-based art where it's got an end product in mind. So we do all those things as well as the pre-academics, and they're mixed together. So I think some of the misnomers sometimes is that, TK is purely academic, and they're missing a lot of that play. They really are not. Otherwise, I wouldn't have very much fun. So, okay, I'm ready. Okay, so this is our TK curriculum. So 2 years ago, we piloted Get Set for School. And Get Set for School is made by Learning Without Tears, which does handwriting without tears. So it is our writing curriculum, our pre-writing, math, English language arts, science, social studies. It's all of that wrapped into one. It's a wonderful program, and it's very developmentally appropriate. In addition to that, our social emotional curriculum is our second step. It includes puppets. One of my kids asked today, like, are you going to take out the puppets to tell her about that? But it's very, yeah, I was explaining something to Miss Chima. Now, it's a really wonderful program that teaches that familiarity with feelings, with strong feelings, how do we deal with feelings, how do we make friends, how do we initiate play, How do we regulate ourselves in the classroom? How do we learn to be listeners? All of those social emotional skills that need to be developed for the classroom. And then finally, Haggerty is our phonemic awareness program. Phonemic awareness, phonics, those are all those pre-reading skills. And Haggerty has done a great job within a 15-minute whole group lesson, getting our kids to really understand how words are put together, taken apart, how to compose and decompose words and sounds. And so we're finding huge success with it. More slide. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. We made these, so I know. So there's other things we get to do too. We grow, we explore, we connect through other, as Ms. Chima was saying, other really wonderful opportunities within our school. We do go to the library. We are part of the whole school motion and Wednesday morning meeting. We are part of all of the school assemblies and activities. We go to the garden. Arts Attack is our program where parents are volunteers that come into the classroom and do art projects with our kids. We go on field trips. It depends on how many, but for instance, for the last couple of years, we've gone to the Oakland Zoo. We participate in our Big Buddies. We have the Wellness in Schools cooking lab. So just beyond what we do in the classroom, there are a tremendous amount of activities across the school that really make our kids feel connected, and they are a part of our school, and parents feel that. You feel that you have a very early introduction and connection to the school community. This is an example of our day. So we start the morning with morning motion or Wednesday meeting. We move on into the classroom with something called soft start. So it's a way that maybe it's a fine motor activity, maybe it's manipulatives, maybe it's a pre-academic activity, but it's not really teacher-led. It's a way for the kids to kind of get into the classroom and be able to talk and chat and check in and warm up. In the very beginning of school, it's very play-based so that they want to come into the classroom. Then we move on to our math, snack and recess, where we have, I think most TKs have their own designated playgrounds. They're learning all those independent school skills, managing all of their own things for their lunch boxes. Then we have language arts, phonemic awareness, lunch and recess. At the end of our day, art, science, social studies, social emotional learning. Those are rotated, not all in one day. And then we do have open play time, and then we head home. How to get ready for TK. So the big question is always toileting and what are the expectations for potty. I still say potty. I even tell my husband I'm going to potty. I don't know why, but TMI. So anyway, she usually has to keep me in check. So we do expect that they are independent with toileting. We do not help them wipe on a daily basis. We do expect that they are pretty independent with washing their hands, blowing their nose, doing the cough cover, and especially that they can manage their own clothing, that they can go in, they can pull down their pants. So if they've got a belt buckle and a belt and all those things, that's a lot. So it's just something for you to really work on. It's only December, right? You have lots of time to work on that at home and make sure they're coming in clothes that they can manage themselves. But it is an expectation that they are independent in the bathroom. Reading with your child. It's funny, Lindsay had a slide and it was like, read. And it's true. Read with your child. It is the #1 predictor of success for your child in school. Read environmental print, point words out, start to point out letters. We don't expect they're coming in with that, but the more that they have that love of reading and that love of learning, it makes our job much easier. And then find ways to give them independence at home. Help them manage their own belongings. Give them hooks that are at their level. Show them how to hang up their clothes and take it off. Show them with their jackets. They are capable. I always say this, the less you do for your child, the less you'll need to do for your child. And it really is true. Even at 4, even at 3, as they're getting ready for TK, they really are capable of managing those things. So the more they can do that, they come into TK and feel really confident. I think that's my last one, yes.
All right, so just a little glimpse into what's next. We want to make sure that everyone is registered, so hopefully you guys have all gotten a chance to do that. There will be, as soon as you register, communication starts to, I shouldn't say as soon as you register. Once registrations are kind of in full swing, schools will start communicating out with families, welcoming them, giving some important dates coming up. There are schools that schedule incoming assessments, so they will try, and those incoming assessments are not like you need to study for it. It's not the SATs, so don't worry about it. It's like really trying to get a sense of each child coming in so that teachers know a little bit about a student as they're making classrooms and placing students. There are usually summer play dates that schools will send out dates for. We have summer play dates just for kids to get to know each other, and more importantly, for the parents to get to know each other and kind of put some faces together. And then before school starts, we'll have an orientation for kids to get to visit the school, classrooms, connect with other kids and their teachers. And then school starts, and 2039 is something that is still lingering in my head, and these aren't my kids. And then it says read at home. We're just sending subliminal messages at this point. We'll just put that everywhere, read at home. And, just want you to know that all the staff, all the community at Novato is wonderful. And really, we know that these are your little babies. They stay our babies forever. And you're, sharing your gift and sending them in our care. And we want to make sure that we are honoring that and doing our best to get them started on their journey. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Principal Chima and Ms. Robertson. That was such helpful information. And the really cool thing about the information that they shared is that, yes, they're from Loma Verde Elementary School, but what they shared is true for all of our schools. So that's pretty amazing. We have a lot going on in TK. All right, next, I am going to introduce to you Principal Min Chavez, and she is the principal of Linwood Elementary School, which is our dual immersion program, and she's going to tell you all about that.
Thank you. Hi, Lauren Min Chavez. This is my second year as principal at Linwood Elementary. I have about 20 years experience working in dual language immersion with language acquisition, and it is really fascinating to me. So thank you for listening as I tell you a little bit about it. And if you're interested, I really encourage you to come by the school and see what it looks like, because seeing it in action usually answers a ton of questions. All right. So we are what's called a two-way language model, which means that half of our students speak English at home, half speak Spanish at home. There are, of course, some students who come in bilingual already, depending on their experience growing up. But we do have a really balanced school in terms of home language. And then the model we follow is a 90-10 model. There are different models. This is the most powerful for English acquisition, actually, which is odd, because in TK and kindergarten, 90% of instruction is in Spanish. Each year, starting after kindergarten, 10% of instruction is added in English. And so you can see by 4th and 5th grade, you're at 50% in both languages. This is really powerful in solidifying Spanish language skills for our English speakers. And because it starts with a really strong foundation in Spanish literacy for Spanish speakers, those skills transfer over really beautifully to English, and everyone ends up with higher levels of English due to this model. All right, there are 3 goals in a dual language program. The first goal is the biliteracy. So students finish in 5th grade speaking, listening, reading, and writing in both English and Spanish. That's something that if your students are speaking Spanish at home, they're going to develop listening and speaking. That ability to read and write in Spanish is a really huge advantage. Another benefit of the program, another goal of the program is high academic achievement in general. So something that I love telling people, I find it fascinating, is when students develop bilingualism, when their brains are developing these neural pathways so that they are able to express themselves in 2 languages, they're strengthened in different ways. It shows that it actually increases a lot of their cognitive skills, and so academic scores in English and Spanish actually increase over their monolingual peers. So that's another one of our very important goals, to hit all of those academic standards and have high expectations for academic achievement. And then finally, and very important, is our students are growing up in a globalized society. We want them to be good community members, good people, and so developing understanding of others and also a high self-esteem and sociocultural competence in the world is very important. And so those are the 3 things that we work towards: bilingualism, biliteracy, high academic achievement, and sociocultural competence, and sense of pride in one's own identity. I will limit myself on the benefits. There are many. One is you just get to speak 2 languages, which is really fun. But cognitively, they've been shown to increase flexible thinking, creativity, problem-solving skills. They've even shown that bilingual folks have fewer rates of Alzheimer's when they're older. So it actually strengthens the brain in this really exciting way. As I said, academically, we see higher performance across the board, which is interesting. It's really fun to look at our math scores because kids have been able to make these connections and think in these different creative ways. It's a really powerful social emotional benefit for students, especially who speak Spanish at home, because we actually connect to words around emotion differently if it's our home language. And so we provide social emotional curriculum in both languages, and it's really important to talk about our feelings in the language we're most comfortable with because we actually connect with emotions differently that way. And then, of course, self-esteem and ability to understand others' experience is a really important part of social emotional development. Economically, kids being biliterate is a huge win in terms of looking for jobs and finding the things you want to do and stipends and where you want to live and all those things. So that's great. We'll add that to the list. And then finally, and I would say very importantly, is community. So I grew up in Marin, monolingual, speaking English at home. And I found, I learned Spanish as an adult, which was very hard. I do not recommend it. They are not kidding. It takes 5 to 7 years to really learn a language. And I was in another country learning that language. But it was so powerful to me to finally be able to just connect with more people and to then be in Marin again and be able to have a larger community just means so much to me. And as a school leader, being able to talk to everyone in my office and we can all communicate about children in the language we're most comfortable in is really powerful. I want it for my kids. My daughter's in dual language immersion, and just seeing that she doesn't have the same barriers that I had growing up, speaking to everyone around her, gives me goosebumps. It's really, it's what I want for our kids. This part I'm gonna say in Spanish. It's particularly geared towards people who speak Spanish at home. I'll translate into English, pero es muy importante entender que aprender el español no va a sacar nada del inglés. De hecho, va a mejorar el inglés porque lo que sabemos es que el mejor predictor para el alcance en el éxito académico en inglés es tener la base, la fundación en su primer idioma. Es algo que sabemos por muchas investigaciones que han hecho, pero realmente es algo muy poderoso que al principio no es la primera cosa que pensamos. So something super important for our Spanish-speaking families that doesn't really make sense when you first hear it is the best academic success in English comes out of a strong foundation in your home language. And so the really wonderful thing that we now know about learning 2 languages is you're not doing 2 separate things. You learn language, you learn this whole rich knowledge about how language works, how reading works, how writing works, how to express yourselves, how people communicate with you, and you transfer a lot of that over into the other language. And so if you're learning to write, you're learning how to organize your thoughts, you're learning how to convince people of things, you're learning how to choose the exact right words. Those skills go into the other language as you do that. You don't have to relearn all those skills. And so for anyone who's thinking, yeah, I want my kid to speak, read, write in Spanish, but I don't want them to do that and take away for English. That's just not, it's like really fortunately not how our brains work and not how things turn out. It just adds to students' metalinguistic awareness and ability to really work within different languages. I really could go, I will not go on and on. I love dual language education so much. I think it's so powerful for our brains and for our community. This is a chart that I will not go into, but the top line is how well Spanish speakers do in their English reading through a dual language program. And you can see that a 90-10 model, two-way dual language model, students reach and exceed their peers in English reading over the course of elementary school. So this is really important to know, is that language acquisition takes 5 to 7 years. If you start at Linwood, you should be thinking about it as the elementary experience for the whole time. So like if you are someone who moves a lot, might not be the right choice for you, because it really does take the whole 5 to 7 years to develop the biliteracy and to get all the benefits of the program, but it's really powerful if you're in a full elementary school for bilingualism. And you can see that by the time students reach 5th grade, they're at the same level as their English-speaking peers in English literacy. So that's what we want to see from our students. I should probably stop putting the slide, but for people who like slides, I just think this is or graphs. It's really powerful data that we look at that supports why we do the work. The last thing I'll say is, if you're just wondering what it's like, come by the school. Come in a TK classroom. You'll immediately see what your kids are going to see, and the question of like, but how will they get it? They just get it, and you'll kind of get it too, because that's how magical TK teachers are, right? Magical. All TK kids are learning a language, so that's just, they learn too. All right, thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you. You can see that that's a representation of the way that entire school community feels passionate about dual language immersion. And so if that's something that you're interested in for your child, that's an option for you, and you can enroll at Linwood Elementary. It's just a program that we offer in our district that's pretty awesome and amazing. And students will have support to follow their language goals throughout the years, even after elementary school. All right, so next step for you is to register. If you have not registered your student already, please register on our website. Some of you got that done today, so that's pretty nice to have that done, and we're super excited. Their school day is from 8:40 to 1:40. And so, that's a long day for our young students, and it's really important that we understand 1:40, a lot of us are still at work, and we do have after-school programs at all of our school sites. And so you'll just ask your school site or the program that's there, whether it's the YMCA or the Boys and Girls Club, or there's a few other ones. You'll talk to them about the details for what an option is for your child, but we do have extended day at all of our schools. And our shared desire, really, when it comes down to it, for all of our students in our school district is for them to love being at school and to love learning, because that is what will help them to learn and help them in a social, emotional way, and help them as a whole child in every part of their little mind and their little heart. We want them to believe in themselves, and we want them to know that we believe in them as well. We believe that all children can learn, and that all children can learn at high levels. And we are really focused on building relationships, especially in TK. That's where they're learning about about friendship and emotions and how to share and how to get along in a community of others, and then in a larger community at a school. And that's where our parents get to be involved, in a larger community and at a school. I encourage you to join the PTA, whether or not you can, serve on a board or have an official role. Just joining your school's PTA is so helpful, and then you can go to the meetings when you're able. But just joining is helpful, even if you can't go to the meetings. And go to the school events and do all of those things that you are doing tonight, and play a part in helping your child to build relationships and keeping our community strong. And we'll keep doing that for you as well on our end. And so we want to open it up now in case you have any questions that we might be able to answer for you. So we have the teacher perspective, the principal perspective. I'm new, but I can try and give my perspective as well. And student services, we have Director Saisi here to help as well in answering any questions, and Director Benjamin. So, we're here to answer questions if you have any. Okay, and then we'll go to you. Yeah.
I know that this year, at least in the school that our son will attend, the TK size, the class size for the TK was reduced from 24 to 20 students. Will that be the size for the next school year? And I guess if there's more children who register, will more classes be added, or how will that be handled?
The question is, will class size stay at 20 per class? Because we like to keep our TK class sizes low in our school district, which is probably something we should mention, because that's an asset of being in Novato as well. And yes, we are going to keep the classes at 20. We do anticipate more students enrolling this year because of the birthday change, and we're planning for them to be at 20 students. Great question.
I heard that, like, for example, one of the classes at San Ramon in the last year was like a dual, like, TK kindergarten combo. What does that look like for just the age difference, and like what the day would look like if, for example, there was a class created like that?
Yeah. Great question. The question is that this parent heard that sometimes we do combination classes that are kindergarten and TK students in one class, and that does happen sometimes, and that's a numbers thing. It'll happen because we have half a class of TK and kindergarten, and we need to put them together. It's a huge benefit, especially to our TK students who get to be in the room making different kinds of friends that maybe they wouldn't have met as easily. Also, like taking in that kindergarten information as well, even though teachers have a very difficult job of differentiating to those two different grade levels and their different standards. So sometimes we do have some TK and kindergarten combination classes. The experience for our TK students really isn't that different. The biggest difference, I would say, from the perspective of someone who's been a teacher and been a principal, is really the teacher. Their experience is a lot different. They're constantly differentiating. They're organizing their classroom differently than they would otherwise, but they're great at it. And so your child's experience would still be a TK experience, and it can be a real positive thing. It's not something. My son was in a combo class. I don't know if your kids were ever in a combo class, but it was a good experience for us.
So I know that age has shifted, so my son will be turning 4 at the end of June, so technically can go in. So I didn't know if you could kind of talk about how the class has been like shifting, because I know I have older kids in the district that are middle school, so I know it used to be right September through December, and at this age, a December child and a June child is a huge difference. So can you kind of talk about, do you like mix them together, or I'm just kind of concerned? Because he'll just be so young, right? He's turning 4, and then just like shifting him into elementary school is just so different than what my other kids did.
Got it. Yes, that's a great question. So the question is, as the birth dates have shifted over the last few years and we're taking younger students into TK classrooms. How does that work? How do the younger students do? The students who are on the younger end. And this is kind of where some of the information in the slideshow, it can be very powerful at home too, because your child will have, and you will have a more fluid, easy experience. The more they can do at home to kind of practice, go to the school site to visit, the pottying is a big, making sure they're independent there, reading, talking about sharing, having those conversations at home. But what we try to do is create a very consistent environment. So an environment that is the same routine every day. And just like students who are in preschool go to school and experience a routine every day and are able to master it and know what to expect and know how to behave, our students can do that too. We make our expectations very clear. All of our schools are involved in something called PBIS, that's Positive Behavior Supports and Interventions. And so all of our school staff knows how to implement ways to incentivize students to learn expectations through positive reinforcement. And so we are prepared to help students for whom this will be a transition. And the cool thing is that once they know their teacher, they have a sense for their routine, they have some friends in the classroom, they actually kind of sink into that transition and that routine pretty easily, even if they're on the younger end. But yes, they are all together, and what's great is, especially for students that are younger, they learn from the older students. And they learn at things like our morning activities, morning motion or movement, the morning stuff we do. They learn from other students at those activities too before they even go to their classroom. So they're constantly learning about these routines and what we do in our schools, and they feel very safe. And I think Principal Chima talked also about how the TK area is usually its own area. It's secluded. They're on a different schedule oftentimes, and that's intentional because we do want to ease them into the school experience. We do know that they're all young. No matter when their birthday is, within that year, they're young. And so we want to set up all of our supports to help support them be successful and feel comfortable, and for our parents to feel comfortable too. And our schools are great with partnering with parents as well. Would you have anything to add to that?
I just want to make sure I understood the question completely. And it was just that because you have, just turning 4, and yeah. Yeah. Yeah, really what it is, the age is a true pre-K classroom age, and so it's really treated the same way. And in my years of teaching pre-K, that's really what we're used to. So to us, it's appropriate and makes sense and the way it should be happening. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's all good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it does. It does make sense for us, and our schools are kind of used to that model. Yes.
What's the expectation of parent involvement at a TK level? I saw the one about art. Is there we need to come in once a month or whatever you can provide?
That's a great question. All right, the question is, what's the expectation for parent involvement at the TK level? And I think that there are parents who come in frequently, and there are parents who are very busy and do what they can, maybe in the evenings or contribute in other ways. But I think that everybody who wants to can find a way and a schedule that works for them to help at the school and contribute at the school. And there is no one set expectation other than read, because that's my thing. There's not really one set expectation. And every school, the office manager will be able to share with you some ways that you can help. Your PTA will be able to share with with you some ways. Your ELAC at your school, if you're involved with ELAC, we'll be able to share with you some ways that you can be involved. That's our English Language Advisory Committee. And the teacher will be able to share with you what they need. Teachers are usually pretty clear about what ways the families can support. So it's really up to you, and you can just ask the school, and they'll be able to share with you what they need. Yes.
Is there a way to request a transfer to a school that's not your neighborhood school, that's within the district?
That's a great question. That's a great question. There is.
You want me to take that?
Yes.
So I'm the transfer person. There is. You go right onto the NUSD website and you go to enroll. And there's a little link right there that you can put in for an intra-district transfer. So that's a transfer from one school within Novato to another school. That window is from November 1st until March 3rd. And then right around March 17th-ish, we hold a lottery. And so everybody that's wanting an intra-district transfer is put into that lottery. And when that lottery is over, everyone that has submitted for a transfer gets a waitlist number. So if you get a waitlist number, it doesn't mean that other people got in and you didn't. It's just every school has a waitlist number for each grade level. And then once we figure out our enrollments for neighborhood kids coming in, we start going down those lists and saying, oh, waitlist number 1 student, we have an opening, would you like to accept it? Most would. And then we just start moving down that list. Okay. Based on, yes, thank you. Based on availability. Yes, yes.
When would families potentially know if they did get into?
That is a really good question. So I can't give you an absolute answer on that because sometimes we go all the way up through August and not being able to let people know. We actually will look at the, if students did not get in that were on that transfer list, we'll look at the numbers after the first 10 days of school to actually see the numbers of kids that are in seats. And then after that, we may be contacting parents, but by October 31st, that's when we say it's done. We're not going through the wait list anymore. Okay? There you go.
Thank you. All right, yes, question back here.
In the event that you have an influx of registrations towards like one school, are you going, and with the cap of 20 kids, are you going to add another class? Or like how do you manage all the kids that we registered to one school?
You're talking about TK specifically? Okay. The question is if we have just a large amount of students at one school, but not enough TK classes open, what do? Will we bump them to another school site for TK, or will we open another class?
So ideally, a lot of it is based on space availability at the school, the number of classrooms that are available. If for some reason we are not able to add another TK class, then we do overflow students to other schools, and we try to make it as convenient for parents. So if you are, for example, at San Ramon, and your student is getting overflowed, we try to find a school that's really close to San Ramon, so you're not traveling across town to get your student to school every day. Yes, thank you. If you were one of those overflowed students and you were overflowed to another school, you then are put on an overflow list. So let's say there were 5 kids that were overflowed from San Ramon to Lou Sutton, for example. Those 5 kids at Lou Sutton that were overflowed, if space became available at a certain point at San Ramon at that TK level, then we would go to those families at Lou Sutton that were overflowed there, and we would go down the list in order and offer that spot to get back to your neighborhood school, if that makes sense. Thank you for bringing that up. Yep. I'm sorry? Do you have the numbers already for all of them? I do not. No, I do not. Yeah. Is it by priority, like when we register? It is. Oh, sorry. You had asked about, is it by priority? Yeah, when you register your child is important as far as getting into the school, but also being a neighborhood student is important. We want to get neighborhood students into those schools, and that's a huge priority for us.
First of all, thank you for what you do. I don't know how you do it. It's like you're herding cats, but thank you. Two questions. If you get into a school, my grandson into this school, will he be expected that he could stay in that school for the next 4 years or however long it goes? You stay in the same school?
Are you talking about if you were on a transfer to that school? Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, yes.
And when does the calendar usually come out for the whole year, like vacation times and?
I think the 25, 26 calendar is already out. It's already on the website.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
What if you are transferring? You have to reapply every year?
I just stay up here. So the question was, if you were on a intra-district transfer, let's say in TK, do you then have to keep reapplying in kindergarten, first grade, second grade? And the answer is no, you do not. If you were on an intra-district transfer at the TK level, the next time that you would have to apply for a transfer would be when you're changing schools, like from 5th to 6th grade into middle school. Then you would have to apply for another intra-district transfer to whichever school. Yes.
Did we, sorry if this is sounding naive, but did we know, like when I registered, I picked my home school, which was Loma, and so does that assume that my son has a spot there, or are we waiting for some reveal, like, oh, you are number 21?
I would say you did a great job registering early. Sorry, the question was if you if you registered now, for example, at Loma Verde, are you, like, we haven't heard anything other than we've registered. Are we guaranteed a spot there, or are we going to get surprised later on? And my answer was, you did a great job of registering early, which is really good. We will start notifying folks around, and this kind of goes back to the question around opening up other TKs. We have to start looking at the numbers and seeing, like, do we have enough TK classrooms? Can we open up another one? If not, then we need to start sending out letters saying, hey, your student may be getting overflowed to another school, just to kind of prepare you. We try to give parents enough notice for that, if that's going to happen. Yes.
Very individual question. I'm a lucky person who ended up with twins. Do you make sure that when you are overflowing, you do not do it to twin parents?
That is a great question. So the question was about twins. If you happen to be one of those families that are getting overflowed, if you're going to overflow one, do you overflow both? And absolutely. Like, we want to keep siblings together. We don't want you driving to one school and having to go to another school to drop off a kid. All right. Yes.
General question, is there some sort of information night for the after-school programs as well?
So the question is there an informational night around the after-school programs? And I don't believe that there is. I'm looking towards the back of the room, and I'm seeing no. Yeah.
I guess I'm wondering, are you talking about the after-school, like quality care or YMCA, or are you talking about the ELOP? I think the first one, yeah, okay. I don't know if you can repeat all this on there, but there is a.
Yeah, there was another, like, a clarifying question in the back around, are we talking about like YMCA programs after school or the ELOP program? And you had said the YMCA type programs, and there's not that. But it's something you could contact the school and they could put you in touch with them to get more information. Or the tours. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. To sign up for the school tours, those dates are online all over the place. Make sure that you tour your future school.
And then just one more thing to add in. If for some reason you live in the Linwood area and you wanted to opt out of the dual immersion program, we have developed sub-boundaries within Linwood's neighborhood area So it depends on where you live. But if you are opting out of the dual immersion program and that is your neighborhood school, depending on where you live, you would then, your home school would then either be Rancho or Loma Verde. And you could go onto the NUSD website to see, like, oh, this is my address. This is where I would get diverted to. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all your great questions. We are available for you anytime. You can call us here or call your school site or come on in, and we're always happy to help and answer any case-specific questions that you might have. Our website is pretty thorough, too. You can always look at our website and find things like the calendar for next year and all that good stuff. And follow us on our social media as well. Leslie Benjamin does a great job with that, and we always know what's going on. That's how sometimes I know what's going on, and we're really excited to partner with you and have your student in our school community. So thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Sorry, just one more thing as you're heading out. Please make sure that your child is immunized before the first day of school. There's information on that table right over there on what they need to have before the first day of school. And if you have any questions on that, just see me afterwards. Thank you for being here.